If you don't stay down and you never quit, come on over here and sit on the far end of the bench.
Ladies and gentlemen, benchwarmers of all ages, thank you guys for tuning in to another instant playoff reaction here on the Far End of the Bench YouTube channel. My name is Jimmy Pilato, my co-host Nico Bryant, outside of Ball Arena now. He spent the night in Ball Arena. He was boots on the ground tonight for Game 7 with the Nuggets. He's got his playoff Murray shirt. I like it. I had my Nordiques stuff on. This is the look that I'm got the Yellowstone. I'm taking this season out to the train station. They're going to the train tracks. They're not coming to the ranch. Thank you guys for tuning in, and make sure you subscribe.
The first double game 7 post game show, and hopefully the last. That's all I'll say. Hopefully the very last.
Well, at least for the first round it will be, and we'll talk about that when we get to the hockey, because I said something and it was in anger, but I think that it's warranted with the history of talking about this team on this podcast. It's like every time that we have this podcast, there's got to be something negative, even when we have something really cool, really good happen. Because Nico, what you witnessed was not just a victory; that was a beatdown. That was a team proving like we are not here by mistake. We are still very damn good, and you are going to have to play your best basketball to beat us. So let's talk about the Denver Nuggets before we have to throw up in our mouths a little bit.
I mean, look, luckily or unfortunately for us, we weren't the only ones throwing up their mouths after the Avs game, because all the Clippers fans that built the wall were also throwing up their mouths the entirety of the basketball game. Look, if you told me before the season started that the Nuggets would fire Michael Malone, they'd walk into the first round of playoffs against the 8-0 8-0 streaking Clippers at the end of the regular season in the first round. Kawhi Leonard's healthy. James Harden's healthy. The entire Clippers team is healthy. Ty Lue undefeated in Game 7s, right? You're telling me we go to Game 7 and win by 30 and Malone's fired and everything that transpired the last month or so happens? I'd be like, we did what? We did what now? Like, did I miss something? Did something go like really wrong? They're really right. And you're right. It did. It literally did. This team. I mean, like I obviously being there, the crowd for Game 5 and Game 7 were incredible. Man. I'll tell you what. Game 5 was incredible. We talked about that obviously on this week's episode on Wednesday or Thursday, excuse me. The atmosphere was incredible, right? And obviously, if you saw my tweet before the Nuggets game started, the wall, I was sitting behind the wall, quote unquote miniature wall that Steve Ballmer built, because Steve Ballmer paid for a bunch of Clippers fans to come to the game, to fly to the game, take a bus back, and take a flight home. It was you don't see that very often, is all I'll say. So in terms of cool things I've seen in sports, that's one of those things. So I will give Steve Ballmer a lot of credit, because look, he's trying. He's trying. He brought all 30 Clipper fans that live in existence to the game today. And look,
I didn't
kudos
see
to
Frankie
them.
Muniz there. I didn't see Frankie Muniz. He's like the head Clipper fan, I thought.
So they're missing one, obviously. So kudos to Steve Ballmer getting all 30 of them together and being able to bring them to travel. Obviously, they made
$200,000. Shit.
They made no difference. Obviously, no difference.
What?
I will say, if you were a season ticket holder from the sections of 136 to 140 where we sit, and you sold your season tickets to the Clippers, to Steve Ballmer, I hope you got it back, because your mom's a hoe, okay? That should not happen, okay? That should not happen, okay? Obviously, it didn't even matter, because, frankly, they never were in the game until from that second quarter.
Do you think it might have thrown that they knew where their fans were, because they can't see their fans when they're at home? There's no way.
It's true. I mean, look, it added icing to the cake where they thought they had a chance, right? They were itching and clawing that first quarter. Obviously, things are getting hot, but something miraculous happened. Something I never thought I would have saw it. David Adelman outcoached Ty Lue in that second quarter. Right? If you look at that second quarter stretch of when Jokic takes his break, obviously he plays the entire first quarter. He takes that 12-minute, obviously, start to the second quarter up until the 8-minute mark for his obviously time off. The coaching adjustment David Adelman made was he threw a zone at Ty Lue, threw a zone at Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, that were they literally had no idea how to defend it. Or how to attack it. Exactly how to attack it. Nuggets sat in their zone with 2 low with Aaron Gordon, Peyton Watson, had the 3 high with Mike, Jamal, and Russ out on top, forcing the hand. And the defense was fantastic. They were making bad shot. They're taking bad shot after bad shot after bad shot. And when the shots weren't falling, Nuggets were getting in transition and getting up and down the court very easily at will. And that's exactly what they did to get to that big run in the second quarter. So it was a fantastic adjustment by David Allen. I thought tonight he outcoached Ty Lue. Well, obviously he had won an NBA championship as a head coach, has 4-0 in Game 7s, right? Very good coach. You have Kawhi Leonard on the other team, James Harden on the other team. And this team in the non-Jokic minutes were a plus 9. Plus 9.
Other than a very small stretch in the third quarter. It was pretty solid all the way throughout.
And I think the fourth quarter, when Jokic literally didn't play until the last 3 minutes of the game because we had that massive lead, like the bench was a positive, very much a positive. And I said this before or after Game 5, was like when the Nuggets are relying as Jokic as a secondary scorer and having got their role players step up. Look at what Christian Brown did tonight. 21 points. Michael Porter Jr. dropped 18, right? Aaron Gordon, very great defensively. Russell Westbrook, another 16-point game. Got the building rocking, right? Like you had a lot of complementary pieces where Jokic 16, 16, and 8. And I'm like, well, that's kind of a bad game for Jokic. But we still won by 30. We only won by 20, obviously, because they made it cute at the end. But still, we're up by 30. It was much not closer game than what it ended up being. But man, I was very, very impressed. Very impressed. Because I remember sitting there Game 7 last year. Where we had the 20-point lead in the fourth, 22-point lead exactly in the fourth quarter against Minnesota in Game 7. And obviously things just fell apart. And I had to keep telling myself, all right, don't get too high. Don't get too high. This game is not over. We still have a long ways to go. This could get ugly. All right, see what happens. Especially when Jokic picked up his 5th foul in the third quarter. I was like, oh boy. Here's the run if they have a shot. Right, here's the run if they have a shot. Except Ty Lue decided to bench Kawhi Leonard and James Harden for the entire fourth quarter. I have never
trouble.
No, they were not. Oh, okay. No, they were not. I have never seen in my 27 years on this planet, 20 plus years of watching basketball, I've never seen a team concede a do or die game with 6 minutes left. Conceded. They started throwing out names out there. I was like, who the fuck is this guy? I had to ask the wall people that were there. I was like, do you know who this guy is? They're like, I actually don't. I really don't.
I'll be honest with you. This is my first game all season.
Exactly. They're like, I don't even know. I don't have to tell you. I don't even know who this guy is either. And I'm like, you're conceding that.
Who do I cheer for again?
Even if you're down by 40, I don't give a fuck. I will throw Kawhi and James Harden out there and saying, you're not getting off the floor. If you want to try to give us something, you're going out there and pushing, especially when Jokic got taken off the floor at the 2-minute mark in the third quarter, right? 2-minute mark in the third quarter. Jokic steps off the 5 fouls. Kawhi Leonard and James Harden are out there doing nothing. Fourth quarter starts. Kawhi Leonard and James Harden don't see the floor. Now I'm just sitting there and I'm like, I mean, obviously I was with my dad there, and I was like, Dad, have you ever seen a team just concede, like concede a playoff game, saying we give up? I've never seen that before. Obviously, weird circumstances happen where you blow leads. We'll talk about that later. Don't worry with Cavs. Like there's weird circumstances happen where you lose in heartbreaking fashion, whatever. I've never seen a team concede a playoff game in the entire fourth quarter where they just like, fuck it, time for summer. Let's start the summer break early. Never seen that before. And boy, oh boy, that game was fun. That game was so much fun. That building was rocking. After that, Michael Porter Jr. 3 that lit the building up when they went up by 30. It was nuts. Obviously, the Russell Westbrook dunk in transition where he hanged on the rim for 5 seconds and said, "Fuck it, give me that technical." I was rock hard when he did that. I was like, I will pay Russell Westbrook's fine. NBA, send me his fine for that, because that alone was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Because for those who don't know the backstory, obviously Westbrook was on the Clippers the last couple of years. Clippers fans hate him, hate his guts. Absolutely hate his guts because of his inability to do big things for them, right? He comes over. He has a higher three-point shooting percentage than Steph Curry, James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Jason Tatum. In the first round of the playoffs, he has a higher three-point percentage than all those guys right now. obviously did not watch a lot of Westbrook in Washington and in Houston and the Clippers and Lakers and everything. I don't think a fan base has loved him this much since his OKC days. I don't think like a fan base has embraced him and just bought in to the natural. I think he called himself a force of nature in Russell Westbrook. Like he literally said, I listened to his post-game press conference on the way home from because I didn't want to listen to app shit, and he literally called himself force of nature. He was like, I'm gonna miss a shot, I'm gonna make a shot, I'm gonna turn the ball over, I'm gonna make a layup, I'm gonna miss a layup, I'm gonna make a defensive stop, I'm gonna make a defensive misadjustment. That's the thing you get with Russell Westbrook. And through 7 games so far in the playoffs, he's been everything I could want for and more. Obviously, there's been a few mistakes here and there. That just happens. But, like, he plays balls to the fucking wall. And I love that. And every person on planet Earth should love that.
He reminds me of, you can tell me if I'm dead wrong, but just watching him, it reminds me of KCP from the championship team. I don't know if they have the same style or anything, but when they have the ball, like, really good things can happen. They can shoot, and they're pretty good shooters, but they at least make something happen. That's the best thing that you can do. You have to be aggressive in these situations, especially like there was quite a few people that picked the Clippers to win and go on.
10 out of 10 ESPN analysts who picked the Lakers and picked the Clippers to win. We didn't have a chance.
These ESPN analysts are having a hell of a couple days because Ant literally tore them to shreds for 2 days after he eliminated the Lakers. And now, they have to look out and go, oh, fuck, LA's out. God, ESPN is now sitting on their knees like, please let the New York Knicks make it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Oh, and ESPN, because ESPN has the Western Conference and TNT has, or they split it both ways, but Western Conference Finals is ESPN, the Eastern Conference Finals is TNT. But the Western Conference Finals will be in one of these cities. It'll be in A, Denver. It'll be B, Oklahoma City. It'll be C, Minnesota, or B or D, either Golden State or Houston. And they pray to God that Houston or Golden State can get through Minnesota because that's as desirable as a spot as they hope for because they're going to have to figure out new things to talk about.
Kendrick Perkins is going to be so far up Steph Curry's jock for the next 3 weeks. It's going to be insane.
They need Golden State to win. ESPN is begging Golden State to win because they need something to talk about. Because my God, they will not even cover the Western Conference semifinals if it's Thunder, Nuggets, Rockets, Timberwolves. I'll tell you that right now. They won't even cover it because they'll be like, we have to talk about Jalen Green, the Rockets. You have to talk about
I have to actually talk about basketball being played. I can't just talk about a big star. I can't talk about a big
crazy.
star.
Wild. Absolutely wild. But hey, I mean, like I said, tonight, I was nervous about coming in tonight because I didn't know obviously how both games would go. And having 2 game 7s obviously is very, very brutal. But I will say, like, I told you before both games started, I was like, if one team was going to win, if I had to pick one that had the best chance of moving on, it was the Avs, obviously. That was my thought process before the game. Obviously, being that person, everything changed. I was like, well, I need a Nuggets win now because the wall is staring down my neck. And I'm like, I might lose my shit here if the wall starts talking shit to me is all I'm going to say. But this game 7 gave me a lot of hope. Gave me a lot of hope for this next series against Oklahoma City. It
seems like they've been figuring some things out because if you look at the way these games went, overtime win in game 1, obviously you drop game 2 and 3, and then from there you battle yourself back and you get 15-point win, about 8-point win, and then tonight a 20-point win. Like there was something that was figured out along this stretch, and you mentioned it. Adelman made good adjustments. Maybe we were a little bit harsh on the guy coaching his second playoff game in his NBA coaching career.
He has coached his 10th after tonight. He has coached his 10th NBA game.
Yeah,
3 regular season games and 7 postseason games.
Yeah, so I may have been a little bit harsh when we had Darren on.
I will say a little bit harsh, but like I said, going into this Oklahoma City Thunder series, right? We have 1 day rest. This team is flying to Oklahoma City tomorrow night or tomorrow. We play Monday night, and Oklahoma City hasn't played in a week. And for those that obviously are keeping track, the Nuggets out them in terms of playoff experience by literally 30 years of experience, I think. In terms of games played, big games won, games like I said, I know the Thunder have won 68 games during the regular season. I am well aware they won 4 straight games against the Memphis Grizzlies. We are walking into the second round series where the Oklahoma City Thunder are 4-0. and Denver Nuggets are 4-3. That's how I see it. And like I said, whether you like it or not, the Nuggets may be it may be our benefit to be this hot right now going in to this second round, because you could have, like I said, playing that hot in Game 7 and playing that well in Game 5 and 7 at home, that could translate to getting to OKC, because now you have that trust at home that you know the building's going to rock. You know that you have that home court advantage. But now what you got to do is you have to have the goal of going to Oklahoma City Monday or Wednesday night and getting one. You get one, come home, try to get Game 3, get the legs going, and then see where we're at. Because, like I said, this series, I don't think will be as much of a blowout as probably every ESPN analyst is going to pick. Most ESPN analysts are probably going to pick the Thunder in 5. But if you haven't noticed, the Oklahoma City Thunder, this iteration of this team, has not made the Western Conference Finals. They won 2 games in the Western Conference semifinals last year. 3 games, and lost in Game 7 to Luka. Right? This team doesn't have big game playoff wins. They have sweeps. They have blowouts. Right? They don't have a that's a bad word. A solidified contender team that they've beaten in the playoffs. Obviously, Dallas was very good last year, but we saw what happened in the finals. We saw what happened this year for them. But like, they haven't had a statement win in this playoff run, in these last couple playoff runs for them, and this is their chance to do it against a team that's won a championship 2 years ago. And Thunder, like I said, the Nuggets right now, and I think we can end on this and jump to the Avs now too, because I think it's a good segue. But like, the Nuggets are playing with house money. We are not supposed to go into Oklahoma City and beat them. We weren't supposed to beat LA after what everyone else said.
No, but now that you're there, you better make the most of it.
Exactly. You go out swinging. You go out swinging, because you know what? If you get overpowered and outmatched because they have the depth wise and they have the youth on you and they're a little bit more fresher, then so be it. But if I know one thing is, like I said, every single time I have ever talked about Denver Nuggets, Nikola Jokic is on the floor and the best player in the world is on your team, you will always have a chance.
It's Rocky 5. We're fighting Tommy the Machine Gun. He's quick, he's strong, he's fast. You just got to make it dirty. Street fight. Kick him in the balls. See if these guys have what it takes to stand back up to you if you kick him in the balls, which is what the Dallas Stars did tonight, because they end up taking the series in Game 7 off the back of a Mikko Rantanen hat trick. He had another assist on the other goal that went in.
Boy, if you would have told me that today is May 3rd, 2025. You told me May 3rd, 2024, that Mikko Rantanen would be the reason the Avalanche are losing the series, I would be like, did he make a costly turnover? Did he do something wrong? Did he get injured? What happened? I would have never guessed he would have scored a hat trick in the first round in one period, 20 minutes of game time, and knock us out. I would have never guessed.
Scored fucking 12 points going down the stretch in those last 4 games of that series.
And before we talk shit about the Avs, big game Mikko is something we've experienced. Something we've experienced.
I don't want to talk shit about them anymore because I've had a little bit of time. No, I'm not talking shit about the Dallas Stars anymore, because it was cute the first time that I did it on this show, but it's been year 5 now, and apparently we're just going to repeat the same formula. So I'm not going to keep doing the same thing. They deserve all the credit. They did what the Avalanche should have done. There was some weird. It was like voodoo magic. I'm going to see Sinners tomorrow, so maybe I'll be able to pick up on some sign. We probably should have sacrificed the chicken at center ice or something to get this Game 7 curse off of us. I didn't realize this. You know, it goes back to 2002. So that means Joe Sakic, Peter Forsberg are part of this Game 7 curse that we still cannot get over. It's just heartbreaking, because you know that they want it. You know that we want it. We want to see this team. We want to continue to see this team. It's not necessarily that we need them to win championships, but we won't ever get to see this version of the Colorado Avalanche that we watched play again.
We will definitely not see this version.
No, and sometimes that's better than not. But it's like that's what the end of these seasons means. So now, as we're wrapping up the Colorado Avalanche season, I just think we need to be put back into perspective. That 1 year was pretty magical. I don't know if we'll ever see that again. So now, when we're in these playoff runs, you just got to take everything as it comes. You got to eat it one game at a time, and that's what they tried to do this series. Give them credit for what they did. You have to split the road games, and they did. You have to give yourself a chance in Game 7. They had a 2-goal lead going into the third period. Your goaltender played well. You have him on a contract. Like, there's things that you can look for going forward, but it's constantly the same things. In the big moments, you don't win puck battles. You don't check your guy when he's coming down the ice. You pull a guy down by his jersey and then go whine about it to the ref. Like, you pulled the guy down. Say what you want about whether or not they should have called it in that situation. Why are you hugging Tyler Seguin? Why? He doesn't have the puck. He's not even going towards the puck.
It's very, very annoying. And like you said, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's mental toughness. It's two guys that show up every night. It's McKinnon and Cale Makar, and it's a failure for the people around you. And look, you had one of those last year, Mikko Rantanen, that was able to be that secondary piece that had that mental toughness. And now he's on the opposite side doing it for the other team, right? Unfortunately, you made some moves that is going to cost this team a lot of years. And this is why this loss, I think, hurts even more. And I'll let you touch on more of the game, but Brock Nelson will not play another game in an Avalanche uniform. He's a free agent. Landeskog, his contract will now be hitting your cap hit for the next season. So that's no longer on the table, right? Charlie Coyle will be your 2C, and he had a very poor performance this season, right? You're going to be losing defenders left and right. It's very, very frustrating because the mental toughness is what bit this team is in the ass 2 years in a row against the same team. It was the mental toughness in Game 6 that you lost on home ice where Matt Duchene knocked you out of the playoffs last year. It was the mental toughness having the 2-0 lead with 7 minutes left in the third period and then losing the game 4-2. It is the mental toughness of not even doing the little things correctly, like not taking bad penalties to set up live shots, like kicking the puck in your own net. Sam Girard went on a Mikko Rantanen wraparound, right? It's the little things like that are just very, very, very frustrating. Because, like I said, I'm not like you obviously have more feel on this than I do, but like. I obviously hockey is more of a team sport than basketball, and probably, if not on the same level as football, about nearly as even in terms of team sport. But when you have all aspects of your team struggling in multiple areas, like the power play, like the PK, like the transition game, like the board game, right? You're not going to win the cup. You're not. Like even if we would have got past this game, and this team, I don't know the exact number, but it was another 0 for 4 tonight on the power play. Right? Even if you would have figured out how to get past this team tonight, you walk into Winnipeg or whoever, or St. Louis or whoever the hell you would have had in the second round with a power play that is as weak as it has ever been, with a forecheck that seems like Swiss cheese because how much it's being diced up and down, with shaky defensemen losing their guys across the crease and getting pucks tipped in. Right? You go in the second round of that, it's an early round exit too. It's an early round exit too. If it would have been done the next round too after that. And the difference between the Dallas Stars and the Colorado Avalanche is like they wanted it. They wanted it because there's zero excuse on paper before the season series started that if you told me Jason Robertson and Miro Heiskanen, 2 of the top 6 guys on this entire roster, would not play a single second of the series, you would have a lead in Game 7 and you lose that game, that's inexcusable. It's inexcusable.
It's so difficult. The level of disappointment is palpable. I feel like, for better or worse, and sometimes I think we take it more seriously than we need to, but these teams represent your city, and when things like that happen and you see the total meltdown and the wilt in the moment where you can't have it, it's disheartening because then you feel like that's what represents the city and that's what represents those guys. And it's not fair to everybody in that locker room because I think guys like Josh Manson today did everything that he could to help this team move forward. Gabe Landeskog coming back after 1,000 days playing to the level that he did. Nathan McKinnon having a goal in, I think, every single game or maybe 6 out of the 7 games. Kale was playing pretty well today. I think Taves, like you were saying, was battling through injuries. Like there are guys on this team that
It seems like
deserve
you have a
to
whole
move.
turn Blackwood too, right?
Yeah,
Blackwood
and Blackwood definitely deserves a lot of credit too. He was up
First
around
game 7 too. Yeah.
he was up around a 900 save percentage for the series, and it kind of just got away from him in the last few games. So like, there's definitely a lot of guys on this team that deserve to move on to the second round. But Bednar said it the last 2 years, and I'm starting to wonder like if there are passengers every year when Jared Bednar is the head coach. There's a common factor, and we said it. I'm not sitting here calling for his job right now, but I'm sitting here saying that your seat is damn, it's scorching. Like your cheeks are burning.
I think
It's hot.
As I was listening to the Nuggets radio on the way home, I think this is a fair question because Michael Malone, who was in the same ownership group with the Cronkies, and Calvin Booth was just let go for probably a far worse group, right? Probably the Avalanche in terms of who had the better chance of winning the cup this year. It was Avs over Nuggets, right? With the group they had a far worse situation in it, and this team was still a top 4 seed. Obviously, won a first round playoff matchup, and Malone was fired, right? I'm not calling for Bednar's job, but I think it raises the question: are the Cronkies going to be this quick to trigger with Bednar too? I don't know if they will.
I don't know if they need to be. I don't know if they should be, but it does seem like I said, when you have a passenger, you have to call out passengers on your squad every single season. There's something about your style of coaching, your setup. Like Pete DeBoer, there's nothing you can say at this point. He's 9-0 in Game 7s. He now holds the NHL record, and he's eliminated us in the last 4 Game 7s that we've played him in. So, like, he literally owns us. Like, whatever you say, Mr. DeBoer, I will go ahead and do that. He obviously has one that works. His system works. Jared Bednar's system works if you don't play a Peter DeBoer team in the playoffs, apparently. If you have the 1 overall seed in the Western Conference, you get home ice throughout, you will never see a game, and you never see a Game 7, you have a chance to win a Stanley Cup. And I hate that I have to sit here and say, as a fan of that team, like, we can't be in the big pressure situations. You know how much fun it would be to win and feel like, comfortable in Game 7s? I feel like the Stars got to feel really comfortable when they see the Colorado Avalanche come out on the ice for Game 7, even when they were down 2-0. They were like, "Oh, seen this movie before."
They lick their chops when they see us in the playoff bracket. We shit our pants. They lick their chops.
Shit our pants all over the ice. It's trickling up and down.
To go back to the Bednar thing, I think it's important to talk about. I think the Cronkies have more say in terms of what the different Nuggets do, and I think that they've given Sakic and McFarland more of the reins in terms of just doing everything for the Avs. So I don't think this will be a Kroenke decision on what Bednar's situation looks like and how this team goes forward. I think it's a Sakic and McFarland decision. So we'll see. I would be very surprised if he got fired this summer. I think early round.
I don't think it's this summer.
I think if this is if we're talking about another first round exit next postseason, it's as good as gone. It's as good.
I don't know if we can necessarily say that it's a foregone. I know that we've made the playoffs the last 8 seasons in a row. How do you know it's a foregone conclusion that we're going to be able to make the playoffs again next year? So if it's no playoffs,
especially the West,
if it's no playoffs or if it's an early playoff exit, I do think Jared Bednar is he's coaching for his job next season.
And frankly, with how quickly NHL head coaches get fired during the regular season, more than any team, right? Like if the Avs start super poor, and things aren't going well, McFarland and Sakic will pull the trigger.
You remember 2019? The St. Louis Blues did that midseason, and then they're doing that again right now. They have a chance to go on to the second round with Montgomery, who started off with Boston.
Hockey is like the only sport where firing your coach mid-season, like literally elevates you to a Stanley Cup contender. It feels like basketball. It's basically like oh, let's see what this team does and go from there. Football, your season's already over basically if your coach gets fired, right? Baseball, obviously, I don't care enough about baseball to even think about that. But NHL, it's like you fire a coach, it's like, oh, here we go. We got a new guy telling us to do. Now we can actually play durabilities. It's weird to say that, but I'm not telling lies. Look at the statistics.
Look at the Colorado Avalanche. We won 2 Stanley Cups from 1996 to 2001 with 2 different head coaches, 2 totally different coaching staffs.
I think it is also important to remember that difference of 5 years. When you think about the cup window, because like I said, it's not closed. You still have 29-8 on your roster, right? It's now getting back to that. That roster between 96 and 2001 for the Avs when they won those 2 cups were very, very different in terms of depth pieces and where they got production from. Obviously, you had Sakic, Forsberg, and Waugh were the backbones of that team, right? McKinnon and Makar, and Landeskog were the backbones of this team. You just have to reinvent yourself. And good teams and I'm sorry I keep bringing up basketball situations because I think it's very important or very, very, very. It's weird to put it this way because he just retired officially the other day. But like those San Antonio Spurs with teams with Popovich reinvented themselves every single championship run, right? It wasn't the same Spurs team that would go out there after every championship that you'd repeat, right? It was different when they had Kawhi at the end. They were more through him, right? Early on, it was through David Robinson. Then it went from David Robinson to running things through Tim Duncan. Then Tim Duncan to Tony Parker. Parker to Ginobili, right? It was constantly reinventing yourself. And for you to maximize a championship window, it's like I said, we're in a championship window. And let me remind you all, we've won a championship in this championship window. Most teams don't win a championship in their championship window. The Stars have not won a championship yet. We'll see if that changes this year, but have not done that in their championship window. So we have one, right? And you have to be thankful for that. We still have to figure out how can we maximize it even more. Because like I said, it's the same thing we talk about the Nuggets. It'd be very disappointing when 29-8 retire for the Avs that we only got 1 cup. It'd be very disappointing if when 15 retires for the Nuggets, we only get 1 championship. Because you just felt like it's going to take a long time for us to get those level type of players again. So what can you do when you have them and continuing trying to push the envelope?
It's going to be interesting how this summer starts off. I'm wondering what things are going to be like. We will. I texted you, and I think that it's fair. I don't think that we should do playoff streams for the Avalanche until after they make it out of the first round because there's obviously something weird going on over the last few years, and maybe it'll be easier for us to just be able to watch because then I won't be worried about having to come on here and do all that kind of stuff.
I will say after if the Nuggets obviously go to the championship, it's a different conversation. But like this is the last postseason run of these 2 groups. In my opinion, I think there's going to be a lot of change for the Avs. Obviously, if the Nuggets are a first-round failure here, there's going to be a lot of change here when a new GM, a new coach walk in the door, right? This is our last playoff road show, a post-game show with these group of guys that won us 2 championships. So I will say is like obviously the guys that helped us win a cup for the Avs that probably won't be on this team anymore. I'm very happy for them and hope they move on to bigger, better things. But now you have to feed the wolf and see what you can do to maximize McKinnon and Makar. The Nuggets, you have to do what you see what you can do to maximize Jokic.
Disappointing end to the Avalanche season, but it was a wild season. I will say that was the most amount of moves that I've ever been able to track and seemingly paid off. Obviously not everything that you wanted, but you did get production out of every piece that you tried to move for, except for I would say a couple. The EJ move didn't end up producing as much as we wanted.
I think the move that hurts me the most is the Brock Nelson deal. I think that's going to be the one I look back at this season that hurts me the most because I think Callum Ritchie is going to be a very, very good forward in this league for about years. And obviously you give him up for a half a year rental and a first round exit.
Yeah.
So that's the one.
And a guy that I think scored 2 points in the entire series.
So that's probably the biggest one that hurts. Obviously I think Blackwood's going to be very, very good for a full 5 years. He I think like his first playoff experience, I thought he was very, very good. Very, very good throughout the series. First playoff experience against a big, high-powered, strong team. You can't ask more from him. Obviously, you would have loved a couple of those saves back in the third period tonight, but I couldn't ask for more from Mackenzie Blackwood going forward. And like I said, I think he's going to get even better. Because like I said, that was his first ever Game 7, first ever full high-intensity playoff series, and it's only up from here. And like I said, that the Avs team in 96 and 01 was built on Forsberg, Sakic, Waugh. I think this team can be built forward in the future on Blackwood, Makar, and McKinnon. And I think that's honestly, it could be a stronger duo, obviously, if Blackwood steps up even further. So we'll see. trio. Excuse me, not duo.
We'll be back to talk more about the rest of the playoffs. Obviously, the second round will be starting. Nuggets will be playing Monday night for game 1 of round 2.
Wednesday,
OKC.
Friday, Sunday. This is a brutal push. We'll see how it goes. I'm excited.
At least it's only one game, only one series that we have to worry about now. That is, I guess, the one silver lining. And hey, 15 days left, and then I'm on summer break. And then I think it's 21 days, and I'm standing next to Dom at the altar, and he is marrying Savannah. So that would be.
And I am 17 days away from being in training camp. So it's
buddy.
So things are moving around here, and obviously, like I said, obviously the playoff post game shows will be a little different, probably a lot shorter. We only have to talk about one game or maybe even 2 games, depending on how we do the scheduled playoff post game shows. But I will circle back to something you said a little bit earlier on, and I think it's important to note this. It's like this is the beauty and the disaster of being a sports fan. It's the highs, it's the lows. Right? I just as much as the Avs performance tonight may be an embodiment of the city, the Nuggets performance tonight was also. Right? Like the high-powered, high-energy, flying around, keep throwing punches attitudes, the same way we see our city. Is also, unfortunately, the same way the Avs, where we have letdowns, right? And sometimes are mentally weak, and that's how it happens. And I will say, like, obviously, it would have really fucking sucked to lose 2 games today. We probably would have taken a fucking month-long break. Let's keep it a buck here. We would have both lost 2 game 7s tonight. So
I'd have had something stronger than beer, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. So I obviously the Avs fucking sucked, and it hurts still, and it's gonna hurt for a while after we see all the moves this team makes. But at the same time, I'm also going to on the way home. I was like, you know what, this sucks for the Avs. But at the same time, like we still have a golden opportunity.
Yeah.
We still have a golden opportunity.
Do I have to throw on my sad cowboy playlist and play some NHL in the dark to get over it? Yeah, I do. That's just my process. That doesn't have to be everybody. And going on that same sentiment, we say that the Colorado Avalanche represent Denver, the Denver Nuggets represent Denver. I say this to my wrestlers all the time. You want to win really badly. Guess what? The person you're going against wants to win really badly too. Dallas wants to have their team respond the way that they responded today. And they haven't really had that in playoffs in the past. They've always had that one area where they fell short. And today, I know that they would have been throwing out all of the injury excuses if the Avalanche would have been able to pull this off and break the curse and beat them. But they do deserve credit. They are into the second round. I hope Winnipeg or St. Louis beats the absolute fuck out of them and knocks Mikko Rantanen's head off once or twice.
I think the best shot we have of beating the Stars is going to come from the Oilers versus Knights series. Is all I'll say. I don't think that the Winnipeg Jets.
I know. I don't want to make it. I don't want them to make the conference final. That's what I'm saying. I
don't either. But I'm just being realistic here. If we want to keep them away from the Cup final, conference final, I don't give a fuck about. Cup final, I think it's a different story.
Brandon, if you are listening, I will come on the 5-hole and I will be a big ass St. Louis supporter.
If I have to watch
they're in that series.
If I have to watch Mikko Rantanen lift the cup in a Stars uniform in June, I will literally act. I figuratively say I'm going to throw up. I will literally throw up. I think I will possibly puke everywhere.
Yeah, no, I put it. I texted. I put it in. I've had some pretty bad situations with relationships where I'm getting disrespected pretty tough. Like I was dropping girls off. Like I dropped an ex-girlfriend off at a place where she was studying and she wasn't studying with that person. I feel more disrespected right now having Mikko Rantanen score a hat trick on my team to eliminate them from the playoffs. It's like, you fucking bastard. You got the money that you wanted. You got the team that you're still playing on a good team. You just get everything, don't you, Mikko?
I said this about the basketball series with Jimmy Butler, but Mikko Rantanen might have been. That's all I'm going to say, because he found himself in a way better situation than he was here. Let's be honest with ourselves. Better situation.
Here's what I say. Fuck Carolina. Because Carolina didn't have to send him to fucking Dallas.
Well, yeah, Carolina also could have been smart and made sure that he would have signed there before trading everything away from him.
Yeah. No, I
Oh.
could have done without Nietzsche's. That's for sure.
Oh, we basically did this series, except for one goal, I think, in 7 games. So
We need to wrap this up because it's going to circle back around to just being angry and everything.
Nuggets won, Jimmy. Nuggets won. Playoff Murray's back.
Won.
All right.
And the Nuggets earned themselves a post game show on Monday night, so I will be tired on Tuesday. We'll stay up and stream after game 1 against OKC. Make sure you tune in next week. We'll have our regular show coming out where we'll talk about the combine. Now that we don't have to worry about the Avalanche, we will touch on the rest of the NHL and NBA playoffs. Maybe we'll start getting into I don't know what else. I like I said, I'm seeing Sinners, so maybe I'll try and talk Nico into going to the movies when he's out at training camp if he ever has.
There's a lot. Hey, also May the 4th be with you tomorrow, and there's a lot of Marvel movies coming out. So
did you win any money on the Derby? Did you get anything?
I didn't. I wasn't able to watch, Jimmy, because they decided to rain the race out and have the show go on for 8 hours. Hence the reason why we had 2 Game 7s start in the span of half hour. So no, I did not watch it because I was at the arena and I was grabbing me what my dad and I call, actually I probably shouldn't say this on my live show, but a little Jolly Rancher frozen freeze dried candy while we're waiting. I'm like, oh, we saw the screen, that guy won. So that was cool. I don't even know the guy's name, the horse's name. That's the guy's name. I don't care about the jockey, the horse's name. I do think this is a cool stat to end the show with. Did you know that every single horse in the Kentucky Derby today was a direct descendant of Secretariat? That's a crazy stat. One of the
amazing what steroids can do for you.
Insane. And obviously those horses that win the Triple Crown, they are producing babies like no other. They said, get in the stall with the woman horse. Let's get to business, baby.
It's a great life. You have to run real fast for 2 to 3 years, and if you win a big race, they just bring women to you. You don't even have to work for it. They just walk them up to you. It's like, oh, sweet. Must be Tuesday. All right. Make sure you follow at FEOTB Pod. Check out the show. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Continue to tell your friends about us. We appreciate all the support. We'll continue going through the Nuggets playoff run. Hopefully it's a little bit longer than just this next round. For myself, Jimmy Pilato, my co-host Nico Bryant, we will see you guys next week.
Peace.
If you don't stay down and you never quit, come on over here and sit on the far end of the bench.